This is a follow-up to my previous video posted a couple days ago regarding a very, very important paper, and everyone should have a look at it. Okay, let me explain. This paper, published in Nature Medicine in May 2022, discusses the protection levels and the duration of the protection after vaccination with or without prior infection. And they also discuss the case of unvaccinated people. The main questions they ask are the following. And these are very important questions. What is the level and the duration of protection after vaccination? How well protected are you and for how long? What is the role of natural immunity? If you've been infected prior to vaccination, are you better protected or not? If you've been infected but not vaccinated, are you protected? And for how long? Now, I made a very short announcement on YouTube a couple days ago, and I made a full video, which is over 10 minutes long, that you can see outside of YouTube. I give the links in the description. You can watch the full video with all the details of the study on the StanbridgeScientific.com website and on Rumble. The reason is because I want to avoid YouTube's censure, which has been censoring a lot of information, factual, scientific-based information regarding this topic. Okay, so that's one huge problem on YouTube. However, I wanted to give you also a chance to have a short summary. So that's what I'm going to do here. I give you a short summary of this paper for the people who want to and who don't want to watch the full 10-minute video. I still encourage you to go and have a look at this full video because the results are really important and I cannot show you everything here. So it's going to be a shortened summary. That's the sad truth, really. We cannot talk openly, and here I'm showing you data straight from a very well-known, well-regarded scientific journal, Nature Medicine, a study made by a group in Oxford and just published, and that's important. And this study has been peer-reviewed. Also, it went through a rigorous peer-reviewing process with at least 3, maybe more reviewers who actually looked at the paper, asked questions, and in the end said, okay, this study is of high enough quality and important enough to be published in this journal. So here I'm showing you the real data, the actual published data, not filtered in any way by the media or by anyone. And I'm trying to explain it in simple terms and show you the results so that everyone can understand and have an idea of what the study is all about and what is the importance of the study, because frankly the results again are really, really important and quite amazing results in fact. So let's get started. Let's have a quick look at what this paper tells us. This is a relatively large study with 222,000 participants who received 2 doses of the AstraZeneca or 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. And what they measured here is the amount of anti-spike IgG antibodies. Higher anti-spike IgG antibodies are associated with a lower risk of symptomatic disease. And so this is a measure of the protection level, depending on how much of these anti-spikes you have. And they also estimate the duration of the protection based on the level of antibodies. And the results clearly show that protection against infection increased steeply as antibody levels rose in unvaccinated participants, consistent with protection from prior infection. Natural infection resulting in the lowest antibody levels, but also the greatest protection at a given antibody level. So in this graph, you can see the protection level in percent as a function of the anti-spike IgG levels, BAU per milliliter, binding antibody units per milliliter. In yellow here, you see the level of protection for unvaccinated people. And what you see is that there is a very steep increase in the level of protection, even at low anti-spike IgG levels. What is the duration of the antibody response and the level of protection? So the results are pretty amazing on this. There is a huge difference between the vaccines and the natural infection. For a 67% protection, they found between 55 and 86 days for the AstraZeneca vaccine. So that's the level of protection from the second vaccination. Now, for the Pfizer vaccine, it is higher. It is actually more than double, I would say. It's 161 to 227 days. So actually it's not bad at all. And also they found that the level of protection was longer for younger participants and also in females. For unvaccinated participants now, which had been previously infected, okay? So with a natural infection and with antibodies which were developed from this natural infection, they found a duration of 1 to 2 years. 1 to 2 years, and you still had a 67% protection level. So that's a pretty amazing result, in fact. You do get very long protection. And let me show you this graph here. That's basically a summary of the protection, the duration of the protection you get with the AstraZeneca vaccine here, the proportion of people who stay above the 67% level of protection as a function of the number of days after the second vaccination. As you can see with AstraZeneca, this level is very, very low. You have about 40% after 90 days, 3 months, and then it decreases very, very quickly. You have only 10% after 6 months. With Pfizer, actually, the protection seems to last for much longer, which is good news for people who have had the Pfizer vaccine. Nearly 100% of the people vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine had a 67% level of protection after 3 months. After 6 months, as you can see, this decreases. And after about 9 months, it's zero. There's nothing left. Natural infection. Now, quite amazing results when you look at this. So these are people who had a natural infection, not vaccinated. As you can see, 3 months after the infection, their levels were very high. 95 to 100% of participants still had the 67% level of protection. And as you can see, this keeps on going and going and going after a year. Now this blue line at the top here, you can see, stays super high, close to 100%, meaning that all the people who have been infected and not vaccinated still have at least 67% protection after a year. And these people are actually the older group of people, over 60 years old. You are protected for at least a year and even up to 2 years, according to their results. Now, if you are younger, your level of protection seems to decrease more for the younger population, below 40 years old. This is this line here, this dotted line here, below 40 years old. The authors wrote that prior infection was associated with a significant higher peak level and a longer half-life for both vaccines. This is consistent with studies in healthcare workers showing that prior SARS-CoV-2 infection leads to higher antibody levels and slower waning after the second dose. So here we go. That's a very interesting study. And in summary, some of the main results here. After vaccination, after a second dose of the vaccine, either AstraZeneca or Pfizer, you still have about 67% protection after 2 to 3 months for AstraZeneca, and 5 to 8 months after Pfizer. But if you have not been vaccinated, you are protected for 1 to 2 years. After natural infection, let me know what you think in the comments. Comment, what is your experience? Have you been infected by SARS-CoV-2? Have you been vaccinated? Which vaccine have you had? How many doses? Let us know what is your experience. Have you been reinfected after vaccination, after natural infection? Let us know all of this in the comments, and also make sure you click the like button if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, and subscribe to the channel so that we can grow and I can bring you more and more of these factual, scientific, and unbiased videos. And don't forget to visit the StanbridgeScientific.com website, where you can find a lot more very, very useful information on COVID-19, the vaccines, vitamin D, and a lot of other topics. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.